Hello, everyone. My name is Madison Miller, and I am the marketing coordinator here at the Business Software Center. In today's coffee talk, we will be discussing how to go green with SaaS. As always, you can find me through the hashtag CoffeeTalkTBSC on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube. And if you ever need to get in contact with me, you can see my email there at info@businesssoftwarecenter.com. For your convenience, this will all be recorded and posted on our YouTube channel, so you can find the presentation if you ever need to come back to it. Keep in mind our questions and answers section is open today, so feel free to drop any questions on the right-hand side of the screen. I also do want to apologize. I will not be on the webcam again today. My internet's just a little bit slow, so it just makes the connection more stable when I am not using my webcam. So yeah, we're going to just go ahead and dive right into how to go green with SaaS. And so I'm just going to give a brief little lesson here about the greenhouse effect. And so there are four of the common types of greenhouse gases, which is carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, and fluorinated gases. And so I would say the two we're probably most familiar with hearing often is the carbon and the methane. Carbon specifically because of traveling, and I would say that is probably the #1 contributor to greenhouse gases, is just the amount of carbon emissions from vehicles. So the greenhouse effect is a natural phenomenon, and so this happens naturally by itself, where the atmosphere just kind of traps the gases in its atmosphere, and what happens is with the sun's radiation, the gases trap the sun's radiation and cause the Earth to be heated and keep it warm. It's basically like the Goldilocks zone, so it helps just sustain life on the planet. So it is beneficial for us, it's natural. However, the gases in the atmosphere are getting a bit out of control, and so I've composed this brief slide here to kind of go over how we've contributed to increasing greenhouse gases in the environment. I found this really interesting. 2 million metric tons of greenhouse gases since the start of the first industrial revolution in the mid-1700s have been put into our atmosphere. But over 3/4 of this is with carbon dioxide, most being since 1950. So I would assume this is correlating a lot with the automobile and how it just became more readily available within that time, and just transportation increased a lot as well. Now what happens is when this excess carbon enters the atmospheres, it can take thousands of years to dissipate. So it's pretty dangerous because whenever this gets trapped, there are consequences to what we're putting out into the environment. So here are some consequences of adding more greenhouse gases to the environment. So one of them would be climate change, which I'm sure a lot of us hear about. This isn't something new. Climate change has definitely been one of those topics. It's a hot topic because we're noticing the changes already. So an example of that would be trapping heat. Another consequence is respiratory diseases. People who live in high-density city areas might be experiencing smog or air pollution, and that might require them to buy air purifiers for their home. Another consequence is extreme weather, one of them being hurricanes. Then, of course, there are food supply disruptions, meaning like food deserts, not having enough food for livestock even. There can be increased wildfires that's been known to melt glacial masses, and of course flooding can also be a cause of what we're contributing to the greenhouse gases currently. So Microsoft has announced their carbon neutral policy. Now this has been going on for quite some time, and they've been carbon neutral since 2012. It means whatever carbon that they create, they are able to balance out. So every year they're neutral, they're not adding or contributing to anything. And by 2030, Microsoft will be carbon negative, which means that they will start compensating for all of the emissions that they put out before putting this neutral policy in place. And so they're estimating by 2050, they will remove all the carbon that they put into the environment since they were founded in 1975. And what I really like is on Microsoft, they offer the climate pledge. So you can partner up with Microsoft and sign your business up for this climate pledge link here, and learn more about what the carbon neutral policy is and what Microsoft is doing. Microsoft is really being a great pioneer in this, and they have a whole bunch of their sustainability projects on their website. So I would advise, if you're interested in learning more, feel free to just look on their website, because they really are doing so much. One example of that would be their sustainability calculator, and this is specifically for their clients. So you can get a breakdown of your total carbon emissions, and this is from the data they collect from your cloud usage, and then they can forecast the emissions that they anticipate with your cloud usage, which I find an excellent tool. I actually didn't know about this until recently. So yeah, I would say if you're looking to get more involved, definitely check out what Microsoft is doing there with the sustainability. Now, the cloud and growing green. Now, SaaS is part of the cloud, and what's really good about the cloud is that it gives you the ability to go green. So one example of that is it helps reduce energy usage, and that means, for example, it could lower the cooling cost of a data center. One thing about the cloud is it doesn't mean you have to have your data centers on premise. So you can allocate them somewhere else, like, with Microsoft, you could use their data centers rather than having the specific ones on your property. And so that also reduces space as well, because you're using it in another location. And then, of course, Microsoft has their carbon neutral policy, so they have renewable energy resources that they use to ensure an efficient data center. So another benefit of the cloud and going green is it decreases greenhouse gases emissions. An example of that would be through assembly of a product, through even having a physical product itself. Everything with the cloud, you don't even need to have hardware. It's all software that you can download and use straight from a web URL. And of course, you can reduce the ability to transport things, to assemble things, to have meetings, all of that stuff. The cloud is really helping as far as the traveling, because it's reduced the amount of things that actually have to take place in physical person. Dematerialization, which I mentioned earlier, just a bit with the example of taking data centers out of your location and just using Microsoft's, for instance. But you can also have fewer machines and have less hardware. And then, of course, there is an increase of data center efficiency. And then there is a shift to renewable energy resources. So, for instance, they could use solar power or hydropower. Now, this slide goes over some research that I found while I was researching this topic, just because there's a lot of information out there, I don't know. I'm just here, marketing coordinator, primarily focusing on our product and its optimization, and it's only recently that I realized, wow, our product and our business can really help with this environmental impact that technology is making on us. So here's some research I was able to find. Microsoft Cloud Computing is 9% energy efficient and has 98% lower carbon emissions than on-site data centers. And then I found this other study here that shares transitioning software applications to the cloud cut energy use by 87%, and the power Los Angeles for an entire year, which is incredible. Which I found that said businesses can save 60 to 85% in energy costs if they would just switch over to the cloud. And I found another one here that says off-site services can reduce annual carbon emissions by 85.7 million metric tons. So this is pretty convincing that switching to the cloud, operating on the cloud, managing your cloud is definitely the future and the way to go when it comes to being environmentally friendly. So how is it you can do that? Well, here at the Business Software Center, we do offer the cloud migration. So if you're not even on the cloud yet, of course, we can help you get. So I primarily want to talk about our product focusing on Microsoft, Smarter SaaS for Microsoft 365. So what we can do is we can help you set goals for your business. And we can help measure your usage. We can identify what you're using, what you're not using, and then we can help you become more energy efficient by helping you reharvest licenses that are not used and optimizing your current usage. So we'll help implement solutions. We can offer training to help your customers or help your employees know their applications and what they're using, not using. And then of course, we can provide insights on what the right facilities are for you. So yeah, I would say with all this research, with going green, you know, even though this is a bit new to me, I would say that we're certainly here and we're doing it now, and we're going to move forward with this message that we really like this idea of the carbon neutral policy, and we have the capability of helping you and your business become more carbon neutral or even carbon negative with our product, Smarter SaaS. So my next question for you is, where do you stand? Now, this is our Microsoft 365 usage efficiency chart. And here at the bottom, our research, we conducted research in 2020 here at the Business Software Center, and we found most customers are here in the red and the darker red. And this is really not a good place to be at, because that means you're not optimizing, you're not using your licenses. And we can help you become green, and we can help you become 95% efficient, which is what Microsoft really strives for their customers to be. So if you're interested, we are offering a free trial. Of course, we're on Microsoft AppSource and Azure, so you can download for free. And when you register, you get everything that I've talked about in the last few slides. We can help you set goals, look at your usage, and certainly determine how to get you more sustainable with your software. So at this time, what I'm going to do is just switch back and see if I have any questions coming in for me. I do apologize. Sometimes it's so hard for me to do this all at once, moderate comments and talk. I do have some comments coming in. It says, hi, what other big name companies are doing work with the software sustainability? Well, I guess by that question, that means that you are relatively new to this idea of software and going green. And you know, I would say one of the big names in going green would be Amazon. I know that they use a lot of environmentally efficient data centers, etc. So they're really big. And I believe that Google is in the works of, if not already, trying to reduce even the way that Google searches consume energy. So, I mean, don't quote me on that, but I believe that's something that they're working on. But Google is certainly trying to improve their environmental impact. I have another question here. It says, how much of the cloud makes up for the energy usage globally? That's another really good question. And from my research, my understanding is globally, it might be like less than 5%. Even though the cloud is one of the newer things out there, it is fast and growing, so this number might increase within time, but I would say probably the #1 form of greenhouse gas emissions would, from my research, I believe it's actually transportation, but I could be wrong. So yeah, if you have any other questions for me, you can just leave your email address in the chat box, and I can certainly get back to you on any of that I just said. Like I said, I'm a little bit new to this, so it's taking me some time to compile this information together and share it with you. But yes, we're here, and we can certainly help get your business moving forward here with reducing your greenhouse gas emissions, particularly the carbon. Yeah, okay, great, wonderful. So we do have coffee talks every Tuesday at 3 p.m. So feel free to join me next week. You can sign up through Eventbrite on our website or even through LinkedIn, where I'm going to teach you how to save money on your cloud. So if you're interested in saving money and cutting costs, I can certainly teach you how to do that. And it was great having our little chat today. Thank you so much. Bye.